Hey everybody, it's me, it's Undead Viking. I am here with another video review. I do apologize if my tone sounds a little nasally. I'm fighting a cold right now, so just you deal with that and I'll deal with it, and then we can move forward. Anyway, the game that I am reviewing today, I don't have a box for, because it's a game that is in Kickstarter, or will be very shortly. But the name of the game is Lagoon, and these are the rules that I have for said game. Lagoon is not about Gilligan, or any kind of like Lost Island or anything like that. Lagoon is a game of area control with nearly no luck involved. It is a pure strategy game of each player has a group of druids that are working feverishly to both create the world around them and at the same time destroy it. Now that sounds a little weird, and I guess that's kind of the best way I can explain it. It's a tile game, and I'm going to show you how to play obviously in just a little bit. But it's a tile game in which you start off with a very small world where your druids can be. And as the game progresses, you will add tiles to the world, and you will grow the world. And the world, each tile is represents a type of energy, and there's 3 types of energy. And as the world progresses and grows, you know, different energies will both rise and fall. And the energies kind of have a rock, paper, scissors thing going on. You know, one of them is more powerful than the other, and so on. You know what I mean. And what happens is that as the game progresses, and you play until you've used up all of the tiles that are with the game, and what happens is that whatever energy ends up being the most populous, like the most energy on the board at the very end, is like the #1 karmic energy, if you will. And then you're able to collect these seeds of energy during the game, and if you have those seeds that are representative of the karmic energy, you get points for that. And for every tile of the other energies that aren't the karmic energy that you destroyed or unraveled, as the game calls them, you get points for that, because you know you actively tried to help that karmic energy be, you know, the most powerful. And then as the game progresses, you kind of have this ebb and flow, and then at the very end you total up those points, and you see who won the game. That's a real top level explanation of the game, and like I said, I'm going to show you how to play. But when I first read the rules and heard about this game that the designer explained to me, I was pretty giddy over the idea of playing it. I liked what he was telling me, because each tile has its own little abilities and things you can do, and I knew it was going to be a nice little fun brain burner. And also I knew it was going to be a game that, since it, like he said, like, because when you play with four people, you kind of play a team game of 2 teams of 2, and it actually works really well. A lot of times when people like say, oh, you know, this is a team game, you know, like if like a 2-player war game, if you will, like War of the Ring, as they say, oh, it's up to 4 people, but everybody knows War of the Ring is a 2-player game. But in this game, the team actually works really well. And what I thought the game worked really well was with 3 people, because then you had everybody kind of fighting for themselves, and you had that little seesaw. But I'll talk about more of that when I get to the conclusion. But I was really excited to try out the game, because I thought this game was going to kind of hit that weird like hegemonic dominant species itch that I have, but I knew it was going to be kind of a faster paced game, and one that wouldn't be an epic long game like those tend to be. And so I played it, and I played it several times, and I like it a lot. Spoiler. And but let me show you how to play, and then I'm going to tell you what I think of it, And then, like as always with one of these Kickstarter videos that I do, hopefully somewhere along that path, you will figure out if this is something you think you'd like, and you will go to the Kickstarter page and give the guys some of your, as I say, hard-earned cash, so you can get a copy of it once it's published. But all right, I don't have a box. I don't have anything to show you. I apologize. Well, here's a tile. You can see this tile. Ooh, tile. The other side is tile. So there you go. Not that big of a deal. All right, cool. How to play Lagoon. Let's do it. Okay, this is how a two-player game of Lagoon is going to look at the start. You have 3 locations, and these are like the standard beginner locations. They're fairly normal. Basically, what these are suggested like the first time you play, and those are just ones I'm going to use. As you play the game, you're able to like kind of mix and match, and can start with whatever you like. The only 2 things are you have to have at least one tile that's a refuge, and you can see that here. I'll show that to you. You can see this tile. It's a refuge, has this little green bar in the middle. Refuges are the only places that Druids, which are these little tokens I'm placing right here, can enter the game. They have to. So as this game continues, you're going to be like bringing more land in and destroying land and stuff like that. There always has to be at least one refuge available on the board in any one place. And then there also has to be at least one of each type of energy. And you can see here, there's the red, the blue, and the yellow. And if you look, all these tiles have little powers on them. Like here's, on this one, Elixona. It says, move one of your exhausted druids up to 2 hexes. And you can see there's this little symbol here. What that means is that you have to exhaust a druid to enact that ability. Some of the abilities will have a symbol that looks a little bit different, and then move any unlocked site to any space. What that is that there are acolyte druids, and each person has one eldred druid, and you can see they look a little differently than. That's an eldred, and this would be an acolyte. And on the other side, it's kind of colored in. You flip these over when you use them. And so that's how you tell if you've used that druid on your turn. The game, you start with your Eldred, which is your elder druid, if you will, and then one acolyte, and then you just the only random part of the game is figuring out who goes first. The rules say whoever was the last person to be in a forest or whatever, but normally you just like roll a die or rock paper scissors or whatever to figure out who goes first. It should also be noted that when you take your turn, like you do your entire turn. It isn't a sitting where you take an action, the other person takes an action, you take an action, the other thing. You do all of your actions that you can do, and then you turn it over to the other player, and then they get to go. You get little player cards here that have all these abilities. Up here is the really important thing. This shows the dominance of each type of energy over the other. So like blue is dominant over yellow, which is dominant over red, which is dominant over blue. And that's important to note because when you're unraveling sites, basically you have to be able to have control of like you have to have 3 sites or 3 powers, 3 ability, seeds of power, or have a druid on a site of that color. And I'll explain seeds of power in just a second. To enact and unravel. So you can actually see down here to unravel. To unravel 1 red, you need 3 yellow, and pretty straightforward, right? All right, cool. And so there's like obviously one of these for each player, but we have them. And as always with a Kickstarter game, even though this is a really awesome prototype and it's made out of nice components, you can see there's not final art or anything on that. So this is not indicative as to what the game is going to look like. It could very well look very much like this, but just bear in mind that this is a prototype that was sent to me. All right, so on your turn, you basically can take an action with each of your druids that is available. At the beginning of your turn, you get to refresh 3 druids. If you don't have 3 druids to refresh, you can just refresh the ones you have. If you have like 5, because you can see there's more druids that you can get, if you have more druids than that, you only get to refresh 3. But it is quite possible that maybe you save some of your druids and then you'll have like 5 actions or 4 actions on a particular turn. But you can only refresh 3. So you refresh this is being the first turn of the game, we won't do that. And I'm just going to show you what some of the different abilities are and how they work. The big thing is you can move, which is really simple. You take your druid and you move them, and then you have to flip them, because that, you know, it's an action and they move it. Pretty simple, right? Another action is you can summon a druid to a haven. So you could turn that guy over and you could summon a druid. And when you summon them, they summon exhausted. So it isn't like one of those things where it's like, oh, well, I'll summon him and then I'll summon again and then I'll summon again. So they come in exhausted and you won't be able to refresh them until your next turn. And so, like, that would be this person's complete turn. They got another druid in there, and now they can do what you want. Now, you'll notice that some of the tiles all have this little ability. And, like, here you can see, like, this one, by exhausting one druid, you can refresh another one. And so this is something where, like, later on, I'll explain that in a minute, like, you'll start chaining actions together to, like, enact certain things that you want to do. But the big thing that you can do, so, like, if this player went and, let's say, you know, he moved that druid there, and that was his action, so he'll flip that. But you can do what's called an explore action. Now, this is a basic explore, and a basic explore is one that you can only do once per turn, even though you get 3 actions, or or you get multiple actions for each druid. You don't get to do a basic explore. Other tiles will allow you to explore later, and those are different. But a basic explore allows you to, reach into this bag, and obviously this is just a dice bag. I have no idea what the bag will look like. And then you reach in, and there's a bunch of tiles in here. See, and you reach in here, and you grab one, and you can see on one side it's yellow, the Dawn Lotus, and then its little ability is when exploring the site, you may exhaust one of your druids and then summon a druid to any site you occupy. So, like, that only happens when you explore this. And then the other side, it says, this is an Eldred power only, but move the invoking Eldred to any site. So we're going to pick red, and then the person who does it, they declare they're going to explore like this way or whatever, and they place that on there. Now at this time, since he's explored it, you have the option, when you do a basic explore, you can then move the druid that explored it onto the new spot if you so desire. That's totally your option. The other thing you get to do is that after you've explored, you get to take one of these little seeds of the color that you just took, and the player just keeps this in front of you. Now these can be worth points at the end of the game, or they can be used in the place of having another as a seed of power to do an unraveling. Now to do an unraveling, I'm just gonna add a couple more tiles here. I'm not gonna keep playing out turns, but so, like, let's say we got a yellow here and a red over here, and let's get a couple more here just to kind of flesh out the way this looks. Let's put a blue on here, another red. Let's do one more, and let's do yellow down here. All right, perfect. And for lack, just for the sake of showing you, let's just place the other druids that maybe black has on here, like so, and so with purple. There we go. All right, so now for whatever reason, you want to, if you can destroy tiles, you get to keep them, and then they might be worth points at the end of the game. Now, in this case, there's no other havens out. If you'll notice, there's no other, so you can't destroy Gru's Refuge that's sitting right there. However, you can look and you can see that since red beats blue, maybe red has a dominance right now, and that's important because towards the end of the game, after the end of the game is triggered, whichever color or power is more prevalent, that's the one that is the karmic power, and that's how you get your points. So maybe purple. Let's just turn these over just so we can show that they're refreshed or whatever. Maybe purple wants to destroy this particular unravel this blue location. Well, since blue, as you can see, is affected by red, we got to make sure that purple has 3 possible red points of power. Well, he's got one guy on this location right there, so he would have to move like so, and then he would have to move like so. And now he's got 3 people on these 3 tiles. He can draw upon that power, and then he can use another druid that has to... well, the interesting thing is that you actually have to get a druid onto this location. And so sometimes you have to kind of be tricky and use a special power. So you could do this, and then it flips it over like so. But now he can't unravel it because he's sitting there, but he has no power, because of the fact that his action has been taken because he moved. However, if you notice on Gru's Refuge, it says here you can take an action to refresh any druid, and so you could take that action, turn that druid over, and you're going to refresh that druid. And now you can take that unravel action. And so you take the unravel action. The purple player is able to take this particular tile and put it in front of them to hopefully score them some points at the end of the game. The druid that did the unraveling goes back into the player's stock. He can get summoned back later, with another action. If there's another druid on the location of a different color, they do not go back in the stock. They just go to any haven on the board of that player's choice. And so you go to that haven like that. And so now if for whatever reason, oops, that one's backwards. But if for whatever reason they didn't have 3 on those locations, and they had a seed of red, you could use the seed in place of having a druid on one of those tiles. And so that's one of the cool things about the game. That's pretty much the game. Those are all the rules you have to worry about. Moving, the abilities on the particular locations, and what they what they do for you, and exploring and unraveling. That's all you have to worry about as far as the rules. There are some different things, you notice that these little green powers or whatever that those give you, those particular powers are only when they explore. They're a passive power that you get when you explore. But there are other passive powers that don't actually happen when you explore. Well, here's another one. You can see it's got the little lightning bolt on there. Here's a situational passive power. So it's Ancient Vowelon provides 2 energy for unraveling if you unravel a blue square, but you must exhaust all of your druids for doing so. And so, you have things like that. And then, if I remember correctly, there is one other. Well, here, let me show you. This is another haven, you can see. Floating temple. You can see that there are different havens. But, those are the different passive powers and the different things that you can have access to. And as you play the game, it's you have to make really good choices, especially when you're pulling the tiles, because all the tiles have 2 separate colors on them, and so it becomes a thing where it's you may like the power that maybe a red tile gives you, especially when you explore it and when you place it on the board, and you might really like that, but you don't want to put it on there because it's a red tile, and you don't want to maybe strengthen red because maybe you're shooting to have red not be the karmic power, the dominant power towards the end of the game. So lots of really cool, interesting choices to make each turn, and lots of like I said, the 2-player game is where I think this game shines, and the head-to-head seesaw battle between the 2 players is really a lot of fun, and I'm really thankful that my wife likes this game, because we've had a lot of fun playing it, and it's very challenging, and it tends to come right down to the wire usually. The game ends when all of the tiles have been placed, and once that's done, and the thing is that there's a couple things, like it's never going to be a lot of tiles because of the fact that you're always unraveling tiles because you want to be able to score points. The other thing is like you can't unravel this tile. You can't ever like have a tile. Whoops! You can't ever have a tile that is you know, jettisoned off, if you will, from the rest. So that one's locked in place. So like there was that one thing where it says you can move any unlocked site to any other space. You couldn't move this one. You can move this guy, but you couldn't move that guy. Pretty self-explanatory. But anyway, once all the tiles are out on the game board, and they've all been explored, at that moment the game ends. And you total up find out whichever thing is the karmic power, and then you look at how many of the seeds that you have and how many of the tiles that you have that you've unraveled. And you know, the destiny karmic power, if it's yellow, the seeds are worth 1 point, and those 2 are worth 2. So and then so on and so forth. Very very self-explanatory. And you just total up the points, and you figure out who's the winner. So there you go. That's how you play Lagoon. A really challenging, really fun game, but let me tell you more about it here with my conclusion. No box to spin around or things to play with make Undead Viking an unhappy dude when it gets to the conclusion part. So I got nothing. Sorry. Okay, well, there you go. That's how you play Lagoon. And I hope you can kind of tell what I meant in the intro when I said it kind of scratched that area control weird, like kind of logistic feel that I get when I play some of the more brain melting games that I enjoy. You know, if you're a fan of a no-luck game, I mean, this is, I think, going to be right up your alley. Obviously, the theme could be anything. These could be robots fighting over asteroids, or these could be dinosaurs fighting over volcanoes, or whatever. You know, but it works. You know, I like the Druid theme. I like the idea of the different energies and what have you, and I dig that. Why do I like it? You know, if you've watched these videos that I do, you know that there are certain types of games that I just enjoy. If you give me a game with a buckets of dice and a real rich theme, more than less likely this guy's gonna like it. I'm not a huge fan of like the straight Euro. it's just not my thing. But when people have encouraged me to play like games, like, you know, that have those wonderful aha moments, you know, I love putting the puzzle together. I love figuring out what to do. I mean, there's nothing more satisfying for me in a game like Lagoon, where I have my like 4 or 5 druids, and I really want to unravel a certain location on the board, and I'm able to stare at the board and look at my druids and look at what I can do with them, and then put together the 3 or 4 perfect moves that allow me to do exactly what I want to do. And I really like that about the game. It makes me feel smart, you know, and it's one of those things that, like, I think that's that pure game playing pleasure, if you will. I mean, it's not the same thing as rolling a double sixes and coming up with a miraculous win in a game of Eldritch Horror. I mean, though that is, you know, something that is enjoyable as well. It's kind of like, you know, I've talked a lot about the click when it comes to games. When I say the click it's that moment where you've kind of got all the rules down and you have everything. The game isn't tricking you anymore. It isn't befuddling you with its rule set in any way, shape, or form. You've figured it out. and all of a sudden the game clicks for you, and it's just the pure game feel at that point. And it's you against the other people. It's you against, you know, the what the game is allowing you to do, and you have to, like as I said, solve that puzzle, find the key, find the actions that are needed to maximize your turn, and then wait and watch what the other people do, because what they do then will impact what you are able to do, and then you have to prepare for that, and then it gets back to you. I do think the game, like as I said, does work the best with two people. I think this is definitely, if you have a one person that you play your games with, and you really enjoy trying to outwit them and outthink them, you know, I think this game is going to fit perfectly for you, especially if you like area control games and things like that, you know. And I think the best part of this game is when you're getting down to how many tiles, like you got like 5 or 6 tiles left in the bag, and you know the end game is coming soon, and you start counting the different energies that are on the board. And my cat's gonna say hello apparently. You start counting the energies that are left on the board, and you realize that because there's nothing hidden, you don't hide. You put those tiles in front of you. You can see what other people get, and you start to realize that he's got more points than me. So I need to go into unraveling status quo at this point, you know, and trying to beat them. And or you know, you need to start collecting some tiles or whatever, so maybe you can end up with better points. And you know, and I love that. I love that race. And there is, I just played a 3-player game the other day, and it was really obvious which energy was going to end up. It was blue. It was, which I can't remember the name of. I apologize, but it was really obvious that was going to be the only energy. There's no chance any of the other two were, and so it became like this frenetic pace to do everything you possibly could to unravel all the other color tiles before anybody else can. And and that's kind of like a big bonus to the game as well, because some games will be these long, drawn out, tense affairs where you're changing the balance of the 3 energies is changing constantly from turn to turn, and you're hoping to end up on top. And then sometimes you'll play a game like that one we played, and it's just, and the balance isn't even there. And it becomes a completely different game, and that's awesome that the game can do that. You aren't set in a certain path or a certain way for the game to run, and I think that's that's another big kudos to the game, because obviously then I like games that surprise me with that, or like when you get done with a game like that, you're like, whoa, and then you actually start to think about what you did, and you start thinking about how that unraveled, and then you start thinking, how could I have played it differently? How could I have done it differently? And that's when the game hits the table again, so you can try to play it again. As I always do, I try to tell you, like, if you like X, I think you'll like this. You know what? If you like, I said before, if you are looking for a no luck, you against another person strategy 2-player game, I think this is a must buy, honestly. And I think you'll be really happy that you have it on your shelf. If you're like me, and like you like having your brain melted every once in a while, I think this is a definite option for anyone. It's definitely, it can be more confrontational, and there's a little bit more interaction than what you'd find in a lot of the Euro games that are out there right now. So if you like that sort of thing, you like that direct conflict / interaction, then I highly suggest that you back this one so you can get a copy, because I'm sure you'll love it. So there you go. Well, that's Lagoon. That's my opinion, and this is my cat Lily, and I'm gonna put her down now. But thank you very much, as always, for watching this. I do appreciate your time. If you have any questions or concerns, by all means, you can ask those, and I'll try to answer those to the best of my ability. And if I'm sure the designer of the game will be more than happy to pipe in and add in his 2 cents if you have any questions as well. But as always, as I said, thank you very much. I appreciate you taking the time to watch this video. And until next time, this is Undead Viking. You have an awesome day. Bye-bye now. Hi, Cat. How's it going?